Hello, everybody. We ask you now to take a seat, grab some food, take a seat, and also invite you to write in the memorial book, which is outside, after you've eaten some food. And then we'll open the floor up for speeches if anyone wants to talk about their favorite memory of Joe or share anything. This would be the time. So just ask you to grab some food, take some seat, and also write down in the memorial book outside. Thank you. Hello, everybody. In about 5 minutes, we'll be doing speeches, so please get settled in. And Greena will start us off with the first speech. Hello, everybody, again. We invite you guys to find a seat. Greena, when she finds some time, is going to kick this off. And she's going to start off soon. Take your time.
Go put it over there. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? All right. I don't really have a speech prepared. I probably should have written something down. But all of you know Joe, and Joe has touched each of you in very different ways, whether it's work or family or friends, college, Canada, etc. But the last 3 years have been difficult. And the Father asked me today if I could remember, the parts of Joe that made me happy. And it took a little bit. Cindy, can you wait? Can you wait? I'll give it to you later. Yeah. It was hard because it took a while to get past the last 3 years of stuff. But I figured I should start with our first date. Mostly because the first time I saw Joe, well, maybe not the first time. The first time I saw Joe was in Calgary. I went to Calgary to see Joe, and it was a weekend. We had been, exchanging lots of letters, like email letters. And when we finally saw each other, it was a little bit of a, what do we do? Up until then, it was lots of just letters. So he decided to plan like a whole weekend of dates. So the first night, Friday night, he picked me up from the airport because I flew in from Seattle. We went to a bar. The second day, he took us to Saturday morning to a gun range. And I think he wanted to test me out to see if I would be comfortable, in a gun range. And I was like, totally fine. I was like, yeah, I can shoot with you. What's a big deal? So we went to a gun range. And then that evening, he decided to take us cooking. He took us to a cooking class. And we cooked pork. Little did I know, he doesn't actually like pork. It took me, I want to say like 4 years after we got married to finally realize he doesn't like pork that much. But that's what we learned. I learned that he had a passion for cooking and making salad dressings and cutting avocado just the right way. And on Sunday, he had a pottery class planned for us. We didn't go to the pottery class because we both slept in. But it was a beautiful weekend wherein I got to see the life that was Joe. And with him, it was all about doing things that was exotic and new and fun. And it was beautiful. After we got married, I was always annoyed with him because during our marriage was the only time he danced with me. And then I was like, come on, Joe, you showed me you can dance, but then you never danced with me over again. And then for token's sake, he danced at his brother's wedding. One dance. I got one dance, which was beautiful and fun. Both of us, we realized in our letters, wanted to go to Africa. Africa. So we went to Africa for our honeymoon. And I don't know why, Joe always made it seem like he was very adventurous. But it was only in Africa I realized he was deathly afraid of all things wilderness. like, we were in a little tent in the Serengeti, and he's like, don't go outside. There are wild animals, and there are, lions roaring. And it was very fun to see that. I also found out he was very afraid of spiders at that point in time. It was justifiable because the spiders in Africa were like the size of a face. It was quite terrifying. He was adventurous enough to take a shower in our tent, which basically had like a shower, but elephants would come drink water from the shower in the tent. I'm sorry, in the tent, because it was like an open shower. You could see the wilderness when we showered, and elephants, of course. It was beautiful. He loved his family. He really, really loved his family. He loved, I don't see Mommy. Mommy, where are you? Oh, there you are. Mommy, he loved arguing with you about religion. Loved it. And cooking. And I think that was something both of you shared, but both of you didn't share together, because neither of you shared the kitchen at the same time. But both of you made beautiful, wonderful, delicious cakes, which we all enjoyed. It was wonderful to see him interact with his college friends, because I saw a side of him I had never seen before, which is drink so much I didn't know if he could make it home. It was a bit terrifying because he could put down. And what was interesting about his drink choices is he didn't mind if they were girly drinks. He loved his whiskey and his cognac, but he definitely loved to go and get like the pink frothy stuff with umbrellas. And I was just like, oh, yeah. He tried everything on the menu if he could, like especially with drinks, everything on the menu, because he's like, I want to try it all. Same thing with food. He really liked to eat a lot of different types of food, which was great because when I went with him, I got to eat all the things he said was really amazing, because I got the best of all of the delicious food he tried out. Raish, Lalit, his brother, Anthony, if you guys might know him as Anthony. He loved spending the like when you graduated, he loved taking you out, especially at that point. It was like, oh, I have a buddy, a family buddy I could go drinking with. And I think a lot of the cousins definitely enjoyed that aspect of Joe, because when he starts drinking, the wallet would come out, and it's like, drinks for everybody. Yeah. Raish, I don't know where you are. Where are you? There you are. Teresa, his sister, he especially loved the last 2 years of spending time with you. The amount of times I was so annoyed with him because he should be sleeping, and he'd be like, I'm talking cryptocurrency with Rashmi, was like truly like enjoyable. I'm so glad he had someone he could talk that with on an almost continuous basis, because for everything he had to offer, you had something else to offer. Because I truly don't give a crap about cryptocurrency. And I think, Anthony, for you was electronics. Both of you shared the love of electronics. So whether it was a robotic lawnmower or a robotic vacuum or the latest computer gadget, I'm so glad he could share those with you. I'd like to invite other folks who can come share happy memories of Joe, because he had so many happy memories. Jess, I don't know if you want to start, because you shared the ones you were going to share already. Not ready?
I can do it.
All right. All right.
Walking up here.
Yeah, that works.
Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Daniel. I'm the wife of Daniel George, who is Greena's brother. Thank you all for coming. and spending the day with us. It's been really hard for the entire family, but makes it better when we're surrounded by so many other people that had their own experiences with Joe and can retell all of their stories. We were kind of recounting a bunch of stories yesterday when we were talking about, what should we put in the eulogy, and it was really hard to choose, but one story that I recounted, which I didn't think would be good to write in a eulogy, it would have taken too long. But one of the first times I met Joe, and really almost everybody in this room, was when Grina and Joe had their gender reveal party. Grina was pregnant at the time. We knew she was going to have a baby, and it was really nice. I'm new to the family, but she let me basically be in charge of planning the whole thing for her, and which was really sweet because it's kind of a way for me to be welcomed. I planned a lot of games, as baby showers are, gender reveal parties are. And one of the games that I planned was I had Grina fill out prior to the game a bunch of questions. Oh no, I had Joe fill out a bunch of questions prior to this game, and then we put Grina in the hot seat answering the questions, and we tried to see how many of them actually matched. And we tried to see if they would actually, the joke is if both parents are on the same page when it comes to parenting as new parents. And some of the questions that I asked, you could take it a bunch of different ways, what's Sinia's first words going to be? Or I guess at that time we didn't know it was going to be a Sinia. Or what's the baby's favorite color going to be, and things like that. And I think Joe read all the questions and kind of took them all as a way to write jokes, basically. So Joe and Grina are sitting in the chair up at the front, and Grina's answering the questions pretty seriously, and Joe's kind of sitting there giggling because he knows that he's about to hear his own jokes that he wrote, and Daniel's going to retell the jokes to the room. So some of the ones that I remember were, what is Sinia's first words going to be? And then one would think they'd say mama or papa, but of course Joe was it's going to be Tintin, for sure. The dog's name, Tintin, yeah. Another question was, what is who's most likely to get up in the middle of the night to change the baby's diaper? And Joe, of course, said Tintin. And then another one of the questions were, how many kids does Grina want? And Joe wrote something well, Grina takes the Bible very literally, and I'm pretty sure it says something in there multiply as much as you can. And Joe was I don't know if I'm on board with that. And so it was just really cute to see both Grina and Joe sitting in front of all of their family and friends, and without really saying a word, because Daniel was retelling all of his jokes. He was giggling to himself. He had the whole room laughing, much like how he is not saying a word right now, but will probably continue to have this whole room laughing the rest of the day too. So I just really appreciated Joe making me feel really welcome. We were the only in-laws in the family at the dinner table. He was always very inviting with a big smile and a big sense of humor. Everyone always says he had a huge sense of humor. You don't really know until you're sitting there with him, and he made sure to make you smile. So he'll continue to make us smile. I'm really glad that we have that memory box. He's going to make Sunia smile, and we'll have these memories forever. So cheers to Joe. Thanks. Anyone else want to go next?
Good afternoon, all. My name's Akshay, and I went to undergrad with Job. So I'll just share a story of how Job and I first met. It must have been circa 2002, 2003. Ani and I were trying to remember the exact year, semester, but that fails us. Too much of a good time at college, I guess. But it was a weekend morning. I woke up, and my girlfriend was nowhere to be found. So, sorry if this offends some people, but tell you the story. Turns out that she was in Job's bed. And here's what happened. So we had gone out, and it was a long night of hanging out. And at some point, this girl had to use the restroom, and she fell asleep. So Job in the night discovered this girl asleep in the bathroom. He picked her up, brought her back to his room, tucked her in, and then proceeded to go watch TV the rest of the night in the TV room. The next morning, I'm looking for her. I meet Job, and come to find out that he shares the same major as me. So that's how our friendship started. He lived 2 doors down from us, and spent many a weekend together. Being a lazy student that I am, I tried to see what classes Job was going to take so that I could get some quote-unquote help on assignments. So we decided to take safety engineering together. And here's how that went. Ani, who you will meet shortly, we would come to class and sit towards the end of the class. Job would deliberately arrive a few minutes later, but he'd always sit in the front of the class. And we'd holler at him, "Job, come back, sit with us." And he would not even turn around, complete ignore. Come 5 p.m., we'd get a text message or a phone call saying, "Boys, where are we meeting today? Where's happy hour today?" Without fail. That's just the spirit that Job brought with him. I ended up graduating a semester before Job, but our paths crossed many a times. He came to Wichita, Kansas to visit me. It was an excuse for a project, I guess, at that point. I had a small, tiny apartment, a full-size bed. 3 of us shared that bed for a weekend, mixed with many nights out. Then our time overlapped in New York, New Jersey. Again, it was just getting to know Job in the professional setting. My mom happened to visit during that time, and Joe absolutely charmed her. I was just speaking with her day before yesterday. She extends her heartfelt condolences, but she was just reminiscing time sitting there chatting with Job. The last memory that I have of Job traveling was when we took a joint trip to Vancouver to go skiing. At that time, Job was complaining of stomach aches. It was Super Bowl. His stomach aches did not stop the party. We went, got pizza, came back, ended up hanging the rest of the night together. What I'll always remember about Job is just how he lit up a room with his wit, with his charm, with his big heart. I'll miss him forever, and he'll always be a part of my memories. Cheers. Anybody else?
Hey everyone, I'm Anirudh. Like Akshay said, met Job in undergrad. You know, it's funny, our lives have been really tightly intertwined for the last 20 years. We've worn many hats together. You know, we graduated, wore that hat together. We started at the same job after graduating for a really small consulting shop in New Jersey, and we'd live in Piscataway, New Jersey together. And Piscataway, if you don't know, has nothing going on. And both of us would play basketball every evening for maybe 3 hours. And he loved basketball, if you didn't know that about him. Watching it, playing it, and he was pretty good at it. We'd go to Applebee's sometimes to grab drinks because there was no other place to go. You know, and after that, he went to Pennsylvania and started a different job, and then life kind of brought us back together in India. He ended up in India at the same time almost that I did, and he had gone back for kind of similar reasons, and we would connect on those experiences. And when he went for his MBA, it actually inspired me to go get my MBA as well. And we talk a lot about that, about wanting more in life and doing bigger things. And he had that like energy about him, like a curiosity to grow his knowledge and be a better person. And that inspired me to go get my degree as well. And we both ended up in Seattle around the same time. Interestingly, now wearing the hats of being husbands. I was at his wedding, he was at mine, and we became fathers around the same time. And so the one memory I'll share with you is kind of shows there's a lot of the magnanimity of his being a big guy. His presence was felt as soon as he walked into a room. The way he carried himself, the way he spoke, the way he made people laugh. But he was also petty, he could hold a grudge. And I'll never forget, when I was living in New Jersey, he was between places, so he decided to store some of his furniture at my apartment. And in that furniture was also his very dear Xbox. And he kept that Xbox at my place, and of course we opened the box up and started plugging it in, and we started playing, and it had been almost a year that we were using it. So he decided, once he found an apartment though in Pennsylvania, he decided he wants it back, and he asked us, and we said, no, it's ours now. You can't have it back. This is part of our home. And so we hang out all night. He's in New Jersey. We are drinking, partying, and woke up in the morning, and Job is gone, and so is the Xbox. So he left at 4 a.m. or so after everybody fell asleep, packed his Xbox, and left the house. So what did we do? Like the three of us roommates, me, Pranay, Karan, called him and said, Job, we are coming to Pennsylvania. It's been a long time since we've seen you. This was like literally 2 weeks. And he knew what it was about. Yeah, like these guys are coming back to get my Xbox. And so we go there, and of course, it's nowhere to be seen, right? And we did the same thing. And he stayed up as late as he could, but there were 3 of us trying to beat him, right? So he eventually did fall asleep after the many fruity drinks and the many whiskey shots. And we found it in their laundry room closet behind some of the things that were in there. And we left in the middle of the night, and he called me like 30 minutes into our drive. He woke up because he had a feeling. He was yelling cuss words like, I'm going to come back and take that thing. He never did. He finally gave up, but it's just, he had that side to him too. I love that about him.
Hello, my name is Darshan, and I'm here with my wife Oksana and my friend Nidin and his wife Sinu as well. So me, Nidin, and Job went to business school together at Queen's University in Kingston. So we would have met actually exactly about 11 years ago in May of 2011. And Job and I and Nidin, we became friends right away. And Job was really the social life of Queen's MBA, to tell you the truth. And we have had so many comments on our Queen's MBA group about Job, and everyone remembers him as a person who just was the life of the party, was good to everyone, and was just a fun guy to hang around with. And he was also very serious about his career, and he inspired other people as well. When we graduated, Job said that we have to go to Calgary to work in the oil and gas industry. I was from Calgary at that time, So it made a lot of sense to me, but I think he must have convinced at least a couple other folks from our class to go to Calgary. And when the time came to move to Calgary, he took the train. He took the train from Ontario to Calgary because he wanted to see Canada as well. And so he had that about him as well. He wanted to do things differently. I don't know anybody who has taken the train from from Alberta to Ontario. That is just not a thing anymore. But Job did, and so once we get to Calgary, we actually started working in the same company at Flint Energy, and Job says to me, we have to get an accounting designation. I'm like, why are we getting accounting designations? We are engineers. We got our MBAs. It has nothing to do with anything. He's like, no, we have to go and get it because we did MBA at Queens. We had some sort of credits that accumulated towards this, and he said, no, this is the way to go because we get a designation without really being accountants, and we are designated accountants, and that's a great thing to have. And he literally dragged me to the info session, and we both started studying to be accountants. And so that's the thing Job did. He inspired others. He made sure that people were thinking about the right things, progressing, doing as good they can for themselves. And so Job, I think Job met Greena in 2015, I want to say, maybe 2014, 2015. He said, I know I've met someone, and I think I'm going to get married to her. He told us, everyone, this is it. I'll be leaving Calgary. For a while, I think he considered maybe convincing Greena to move to Calgary, but then he realized that no, Greena has a very good career herself, and I think it makes sense for me to make this move and go to Seattle so that she can continue with her things. And so he thought about others, obviously, and of course he would think the best about Greena as well. And he did that. So since I think he moved. Did he move here in 2016? Is that about right? And then since then we have been in touch as well. He came to our wedding in Pune when Oksana and I got married. I think he was the only guy from our MBA class to be there, and it was great having him around. And we saw him a couple times since they moved to Seattle as well. He will be severely missed. There are a lot of people I think that's like a completely different circle. I don't know if anybody even knows that he had a life in Canada and Alberta, from everyone from a foreman to an executive in a construction company. They all knew Job, and Greena must have seen a lot of comments on LinkedIn and things like that about people remembering him there as well. So absolutely, we lost a gem for sure. He'll be missed.
Hi everyone, I'm Leah Eckelman.
I'm disturbing her because I have to leave. So once again, I thank you all for the wonderful way in which you took part in this funeral of Joe. I didn't know Joe Cherian that much, but from whatever you shared here, it sounds really, he was a vibrant, wonderful person, and with whom you find difficult to part. So I came to know a lot of you, your family. So I once again offer my heartfelt condolences to Greena and the family, Mr. Cherian and the family, and also George and his family. May God continue to bless all of you and keep cherishing these beautiful memories. We celebrate life. Christian burial is celebration of life. It is not about sorrow or sadness, because we know that he is in a better place and rejoicing, watching us and smiling at us, and he will keep in touch with all of us in a better way because he has got more power now than the physical power that he displayed here, or the more love because it is part of divine love now. So share that same love with you, and he will continue watching over you and connecting with you in strange but beautiful ways, just like God does through our own prayers and things. We connect with God and family. Let us keep praying and cherishing this memory, and may God bind you together and keep you strong in your own lives and in your family. So I'll give you a blessing and I will leave. Thank you so much. I live in DuPont, which is very far away, and I have some other work to do before I celebrate the Syro-Malabar Mass. I am the only Syro-Malabar priest in this whole state, but I live like 1 hour and 15 minutes from here, so I have to go for some other programs. So I will give you a blessing and say a prayer, then I'll leave. Just keep staying. Keep sitting. No need to get up. Heavenly Father, we ask your blessings on this family of Joe and all of them, their extended families, friends and well-wishers and companions. Lord, you envelop us with your great love and protection like a father, mother, brother, sister. You have all the endearing ways of helping us and being with us. And very often we miss you because you hide behind chances and luck, and we sometimes take you for granted. Help us, Lord, with your grace and love, that we may always look at you as our power and the only source of our strength. May you guide us in our life as you guided Joe Cherian, and also be with all the family that is bereaving with your comfort and strength. Bless all of us in our onward journey, that we may continue bearing fruits with the gifts and talents you have given us. We ask all these prayers through the same Jesus Christ, our Lord. May the blessing of Almighty God, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit come down upon you and remain with you all forever. Amen. Thank you again, and God bless you all.
All right. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Leah Eckelman. I was privileged enough to have Job on my team at Blue Origin from late last year. And working in the pandemic environment, we were all separated at Blue Origin, and it was hard sometimes for teams, especially newly teams, getting together to get to know one another. So one thing we did on our team, every week someone brought a new question, and we would go around the virtual room and everyone would answer that question. So I just wanted to share with you, just the Thursday before his passing, Job was on the call with the team. And that question was, and Job loved this because being such a foodie, the question was, what are your 3 favorite restaurants? So a couple of those are in Seattle, so if you ever find yourself at any of these places, take a moment to think about Job. But his answer was he loved Cafe Munir here in the city for the Lebanese and Middle Eastern food. And he thought everyone should go to Canlis one time for a fine dining experience. He thought that was some of the epitome of what fine dining could be. And the third one isn't truly a restaurant, but he said in Philly, any cheesesteak. So apparently Job was a lover of cheesesteak. So if ever I find myself in any of those places, I know I will think of Job. Whenever I have a fine dining experience, all the way from fine dining to anything, just something I stumble across at a food truck, I know I will think of Job. I learned a lot about him today. I had no idea he was such a party animal. But the next whiskey I have, I will certainly toast to him. So I feel so privileged to be here today to get to know Job more than I did before, and thank you for inviting me here to be a part of this lovely experience and tribute to Job's life.
Hi, everybody. I'm Daniel, Green's brother, and I didn't really think I was going to come here and give a speech because I feel like I might break down just thinking about what a good guy really Joe was. And I don't really say this about a lot of people, but it's not really easy to be married to my sister. I think that's one thing Joe and I had in common is we were able to tease my sister for really for the last 8 years or so. There's a lot of other things that I can talk about Joe, but I've always wanted a brother, and so when Greena got married, I was really happy that I did get that brother, and now I'm really sad that I lost him. But I think Joe is not really a traditional guy, so I think it's important to think about this experience the way Joe would, and I think he would be someone that would want to cherish his life as opposed to mourn his death. So I think it's important for all of us to learn from this experience, and I know I've learned a lot. Personally, the way Joe battled cancer, it taught me a lot. It taught me to always judge a person not by what's the facade, but actually really think about what they're going through. Because initially it was really hard when we didn't know what was going on with Joe, and we were all really just upset. Why is he acting like this? Why is he, being this sort of way? But if we had known that he was battling cancer early, everything that I would have done would have been a lot different. So the learning experience for me is, every person is going through something. So, regardless of what you see on surface, never take that as actually what someone is going through. So I could probably, go on and on talking about Joe, just because he really was the life of the party. When I got married to Jessica, he was very welcoming of her. He was really welcoming of everyone. And you don't really meet a lot of people like that. So he will be very much missed, and I think we all could learn a lot from him. I'll end there. Oh, I do want to do a duet, actually, with Sinia, too. Sinia, come. This is something that Joe actually asked Sinia a lot, and this, again, talks to a little bit about how funny Joe was. So it's a series of questions which Sinia knows the answers to. Maybe. She might be a little distracted now. Sinia, how does the money printer go? How does the helicopter with the money printer come? And stand up, Sinia, for this one. How does the stock market go? Pew. Pew. And last question, does trickle-down economics work?
No.
Come on, Sinia. You want to say something?
No.
Say I love you, Papa.
I love you, Papa.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Mike Avicilla. I also worked with Job at Blue Origin, and my deepest condolences to the family and friends. It's so great to see so many people here. Just real quick, Job, one, I learned a ton of stuff about Job. One, his name is Joe. I had no idea, so that's fascinating. But the first time I met Job was actually when I interviewed with Blue, and he was grilling me on stuff about budgets and schedules and P6 and all the technicalities of what was going on at Blue. And I recall at one point when it was my turn to ask some questions, I kind of asked him, so what do you really think about Blue and what we're doing here? And he kind of gave this face like, we need help. But at that point, I knew we were going to be fast friends. But I think when Leah also shared that when the pandemic hit, much of the time that we spent was virtual and online. And whenever I had a meeting with Job, it was always great because I dial in and the first thing you'd see is this big old picture of his badge just smiling at you. And it was such a great thing to always spend time with him and go through things. Oftentimes we spent a couple hours on the phone just working through issues and problems, and at some point you get tired and you need to take a break. And those points, he would always be ready to crack a joke or lift my spirits, teach me something new. And for those things, I'll forever be grateful. I recall him always trying to talk on the phone, and your daughter, would yell or scream in the background, and he'd try to fumble with the mute, but would never quite get it right. So she'd be in the background going while we were having our meetings. And it was such a great thing to hear his love for his family, his daughter, and his wife. And he often would gush about his little one, the milestones that she would go through, as far as, oh, she's sitting up now. Oh, now she's starting to babble. Now she's starting to walk, and it is such a fabulous thing. So again, thank you so much for sharing this opportunity with me and sharing Job with us. We're very much going to miss him. His fingerprints are all over New Shepard, where I worked with him very closely. And every time that launches, know that his fingerprints are on that vehicle, and he's a part of why that is successful. So you'll always have something to remember him by. Thank you again, and again, my sincerest and deepest condolences.
I'm Sheila, Joe's mother-in-law. I just wanted to say two little sentences. The first time I met Joe was in Vancouver, and then just before marriage, Joe came over to house, and I was working. I just came running from work around noon. I come inside the house, Greena and Joe are there, and Greena has given a big bowl of beans and asked him to cut it. And Joe was cutting the beans. And I was, Greena, what are you doing, making him cut beans? And he said, Mama, he has to learn it. And so I did not know that Joe loved cooking, but he was doing it. And then when he was battling cancer, whenever we asked him, Joe, how are you? With a smile, I'm fine. Never ever has he said I'm in pain or he was suffering. And one day Greena told me, Mom, if it was my husband or Daniel, they would be whining over all this pain. So we saw two different extremes in my house. And then just on a final note, he was battling with cancer. They were in their Kenmore house. Beautiful day, and all the plums were ripe. Joe picks up the plum. Senior loved the plums, so Joe picks up a plum in a big basket and posts the picture on WhatsApp, and the caption is Plum Joe. And Senior said, Plum Joe, or I don't know whether it was Joe named himself or it was Senior called him Plum Joe. But either way, I just still, and he was so happy. So, I mean, good memories about Joe. Okay, your turn. Okay, your turn. What are you going to say? It's Titi. Are you going to sing a song for Papa? What song are you going to sing?
Do, dear, see.
Sing. Don't go there. Okay, you can sing to Mama. Okay, sing. Do, a deer, a female deer, ray, a drop of golden sun. Sing.
So, for Mama and friend. So, little dread.
Lungs to the
Dream.
a drink with cherry that would bring us back to Joe. Oh.
Me for Salati.
Does anyone else want to say last few words? In that case, we'd just like to thank everybody for coming. Your presence here is really appreciated. It's just nice to see everyone here today. So thank you all.